Welcome everyone to the live stream for the Miami Grand Prix qualifying that is going on today. We'll be joined today by Nemesis and Swizzles a bit later, as well as a young Nash today. We get a lot of feedback from everyone within the group, and I hope to hear from all of you as well. I'll be going on in this race. As we're underway, 17 minutes left of the session to go. Everyone will join shortly. As we hear from Logan Sargent at the start of the session.
Valtteri said it basically balancing into grip issue. This morning we saw much higher track temperature, lower grip from inside the car surface. So Davey driving around with a car that doesn't have that top end. So hopefully that's the actually disqualified. As long as he's reached these weeks, struggled to sort of keep that together. He could do a contract, leading the good life, but you need to remember he's a Grand Prix driver. He is two. Logan tried to qualify his teammate first time, same applies to Nick. Not strong. 4-0. Try to get one.
I think Alonso's only been beaten by one teammate in his career.
Do you think that one teammate was Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got Magnussen putting it on pole so far. Max and as I say that, Max finally goes across the line to go and do the fastest lap of the race. I know the stream is but the timing's a bit off. Yeah, there we go. There, Max finally hit the fastest lap.
There's quite a lot of feedback that I'm hearing.
Is there quite a lot of feedback? Is that most likely the fan?
No, it's not from you.
Not from me, from the stream overall.
No, from N35.
Oh yes, we can disconnect N35. N35 is not speaking to us here. You'll be speaking to us on Twitch chat.
Okay, sensational. Oh, is it Nash?
Yes, that is Nash.
That makes sense.
It's looking pretty windy out there. So we're seeing a big tailwind exit of turn 1 through 2, 3, impacting that traction.
All right. So then, is there any other audio issues here? Can you hear now? All right, cool. Are you super soft? I can always change that. Ooh. I think it's just overall volume. Also,
I can hear you loud and clear. Can't hear me at all.
yeah, you're muted.
I can. Oh my God, Hamilton. Oh, I can hear me again. Whatever you did fixed it.
Yep, that should be fixed. Yeah, I do think Magnussen was impeding that session there.
Yeah, Hamilton basically sent it into the wall.
Yeah. All right, since we are in this wonderful session, right? Let us wait just a little bit for everyone to. Oh, these guys are fighting each other for some piece of racetrack here. It's qualifying, guys. Let each other have some space.
There's no space for space in qualifying, especially at Miami.
Yeah, my goodness.
Do you remember how hectic last year was?
Oh, last year was a mess, absolute mess.
But the race was so boring.
Except for that late safety car, which brought out some shenaniganry to help Max win. But
yeah, with Norris.
Thank you, Smooth Operator 6789 for the follow.
Ah, what a lad.
Absolute lad. Of the
Wait,
note.
it's Science. Science is watching us.
Oh, Carlos. I thought you're supposed to be racing, man. You're out, you're already doing 4 tenths off of the fastest lap, but you're watching a Twitch stream on your downtime. Yeah, you must improve some lap times there, my friend. We want to see you on
He's
pole.
doing it. He's doing it on the side.
Yeah, it'll be lovely to see.
What happened to Russell? I looked up and oh, there he is. Okay, because he's like he put in a purple sector 1, and I'm like, okay, that's promising.
Yeah, you just needed
But
to
that's
finish the lap.
PA.
But I think Leclerc's on a flyer as well, so you would steal away the purple. But then again, Max and Perez also out on laps currently.
Yeah, Verstappen's put in 2, 3, 4 purple spots. Call them spots. Perez not doing too badly, improving on his own time quite significantly.
Yeah.
Sainz doing the same.
Don Espresso says Lewis almost binned it. Yeah, I totally agree. He
Oh.
almost did. Oh, what
Good.
are the Ferrari versus...
People are just squeezing everyone into the wall here. What's going on?
Ooh, I'm hoping the FIA can get some...
Hamilton and Joe now.
Yeah, let's get some penalties rolling. People are not listening here. Like, here's Kevin Magnussen. What happened with him today? Oh, he clipped the wall just ever so slightly.
Is that an emoticon of George Russell on a dog?
Yeah, that is
What am I looking at?
that is a George Russell dog.
What a lad. Oh, I get it. It's not a Jack Russell, it's a George Russell.
But your sky is not. But you see, Smooth Operator, this is why we pay for F1 TV. Or at least you can watch the stream. You can see the live data here at least on what's happening.
Unfortunately, we can't give you
The actual live stream.
the nice cameras. We'll definitely probably 100% get banned.
Oh no, definitely 100% banned for that one. But we can at least show you so that the FIA stewards are investigating Lewis Hamilton and Magnussen for there. Rage to the max 123. Thank you for the follow. Unfortunately, Rage
yes.
to the max, we do not have a Discord set up just yet. But once we do, we definitely will let you guys know, and Stream Elements will be set up for a reply for the Discord.
Yes, thank you for the follow. Stay tuned. We will set that up probably by the next race, and then we can definitely pull people into to chat about things.
You can't cancel your Sky thing. I think that's a big problem if you can't cancel your Sky Sports.
No, he
subscription.
might.
Oh, might. Oh, I can't read today.
It's okay. It's late here in the south.
Well, let's just wait for what Charles Leclerc had to say there, because he's on the radio about something. Let's hear what Charles has to say here.
Yeah, my tires are not looking good,
Charles is complaining about no tires. Absolutely, they are fried. I wonder what happened, because if you we were watching in practice, a lot of the teams were going for one out lap, one next lap, one cool down lap. Oh, I see. Charles is on 5-lap old tires. That's what he put his time with right now.
I was immediately going to launch into the Ferrari DEG common problem that they have. And then I remembered we're in Q1.
Oh.
And that hasn't even started yet. Imagine how bad it's going to be in the race.
It's definitely going to hurt the Charles right now. Oh.
Yes, Don. Charles definitely sounds upset. But, I mean, if you race for Ferrari at this rate, would you not be upset?
I mean, if your tires are gone as well, I would also be very upset, After 5 laps, I mean, if you look at it, his tires are only 5 laps old. To be completely finished, usually they harden after a few laps of just scrub running.
Yeah. On the plus side, we have some nice metrics. So air temp is only 28.7, but track temp's 42 degrees. That's gonna chow through tires, especially the corners on this track. That's gonna chow through tires.
Oh, it definitely will. Ferrari and
Oh,
front tires are only a joke, yeah.
more unsafe
Ooh.
releases.
Oh, I really want to see the FI hand out penalties this session
Who's
because
that?
I mean,
Hulkenberg and De Vries. So it's an AlphaTauri. It might be Tsunoda or De Vries.
I do think it might just be De Vries. He's needing to go out on another run. Yeah, I do believe that was De Vries. He was out on the lap. Speaking of
Debris being unsafely released into Hulkenberg's way.
yeah, I guess the engineers just aren't paying clear attention. I do think, that pit exit is still a very big problem. I think it's just like Jeddah's pit exit. To throw them out almost onto the line, racing line, is a big issue. Because, like, you're coming out on extremely cold tires. You might just light up the rears and go sideways, and someone's just trying to overtake you, and they might just become a casualty from that.
Yeah, definitely, and also as Perez, I think it happened to Perez in P2. The entry is you also have to be very clinical in your entry into the pit lane because you could get black and white flagged.
Yeah. And I mean,
but yes, definitely, that pit exit is quite sketchy. Because if you look, the spot in the pit lane where you can actually start accelerating is way before you kind of join the track. So you're still doing decent speeds coming out of the track, and someone comes around turn one. It's gonna be scary. Someone's gonna have to yield, and as we've all seen, none of these drivers like yielding ever.
Definitely. Bottom 5 on the Q1 is all Merc engines. I do agree, they definitely are, but if you look at it, Norris is improving right now. He looked like he was going faster than Gasly's time at the moment. Hamilton, we know he got impeded by Magnussen, which, if you look at it, Magnussen putting it 4/10 behind Max Verstappen right now is incredibly impressive from the horses,
Just to interrupt you there, my apologies. Sainz puts it in P2. Improved quite a bit. Sargent up out of the risk zone. We're still waiting for the last laps to come in. We got 19, 18 seconds.
Hamilton,
but there's some improvements.
Yeah, Hamilton and Russell are currently on their flying laps. Russell 1.8 up on Ocon, which is not that really good right now. Because I mean, if they
Alonso Norris up into P11.
Lovely thing from Norris. Now we got two Renault engines going through. Russell having to navigate through that traffic. The incident between who? Zhou and Sainz.
Zhou slotting it in P9 for the time being. The Haas's are doing surprisingly well at this track.
Russell going 6/10 faster.
As I said that, Ocon goes and splits the Haas boys, and Bottas, is this his time? Is Bottas actually coming alive?
I do think he's warming up. He's warming up in this session, Ria. Let's see. Hopefully Q2 can be a lot better for him. Russell crosses the line right now.
Russell back up.
Russell jumps to P10 as the best thing that he could do for the Mercedes. 7/10 behind.
Hamilton up into P6.
Hamilton showing Russell what a true experienced driver at the Mercedes team can do.
To be fair,
yeah.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Russell has been struggling a lot with that car this weekend. With the front suspension changes, the steering column changes, he's been struggling with that car. I don't know what happened in P1, seeing as the Mercs topped the tables. It clearly upset everyone else on the grid. But Russell has been struggling from P2 onward.
Oof. I agree that those McLaren engines are Mercedes-based engines, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Stroll is out in P18. That is a big concern, I think, because the Aston Martins, they really have been doing quite well for themselves this whole season so far. And for now in Miami for them to fall back to positions where they're not really that competitive, I would say. Is this the chance for the Ferrari-based engines and car designs to flourish? I know that the Red Bulls are rocket ships here, but I mean, we have what, one, two, three, four Ferrari engines up in 5 Ferrari engines up in the top 10 right now.
I am big sad that my boy is out in P17. He did so well last weekend.
Ooh,
And Tsunoda, man.
this seems it's a big pain for Sonoda and Lando Norris, Piastri. I really do. You know, thinking about it, let's go on to this topic, because since we here talk about Lando Norris, right? Where do you think Lando Norris would want to move to, right? Because currently McLaren are not performing as well as they should, and he has a contract till 2028, or was it 2027? So it'll be interesting to see.
I mean, look, Stroll is going to be in that team forever because daddy's money.
Definitely.
They'd be making horrific decisions if they let Alonso go.
I don't think, yeah.
Smooth operator, I agree. On the Lando, it's big sad, but the McLarens are clearly struggling in Miami this weekend. Stroll is you know, I calling him the weak link. There are lots of
Variables
in that. Like, look at Australia. He performed really well in Australia. They both did. I think he ended P6, if I'm not mistaken. Thibaut,
Yep.
if you could just double check that.
That land is
Stroll in Australia.
Stroll in Australia. We can do a look at the.
Yeah, just have a look at that real quick. But look, he's definitely underperforming. That much I can agree with. He's definitely underperforming. It looks like both the Astons are struggling this weekend, though. Ferraris have found their pace. Haas has come out the woodworks. These Alpines also aren't doing too badly. Bottas remembered how to drive. So this weekend's going to be exciting. Definitely going to be exciting.
So, in terms of Australia, the Australian Grand Prix, Stroll managed to finish P4, which was
P4, not P6, right?
which is a lot better. So I do think that the Aston Martin has potential, but you know what it could be, right? Is that Aston Martin, I believe, is one of the few teams that did not bring a upgrade package to. No, they did bring an upgrade package, but not a significant one. They brought some cooling louvers to their car this weekend, whereas other teams such as Haas have brought a new floor to the party, which, as you can see, Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg have been utilizing quite well in getting themselves up into the top 10 so far.
Is it on both the Haas cars?
I believe it is only just on Nico Hulkenberg's car, but he did crash the car out in the practice session too, I believe. But
yeah, he
Gunther,
did. And then
Gunther did confirm they had spares made.
So did Will, as he was touching all the F1 parts in the paddock yesterday.
Oh yes, when he was also playing with Max's, or not Max, one of the Alpine's headrest, as Max was getting his Hans device stuck on the.
And they were just talking about foam the entire day.
Max, thanks Don. Lando is confirmed to be at McLaren until 2028. I do believe that Lando does have a exit clause out of McLaren. I think that Zach Brown, when saying that Lando does not have an exit clause, was more bluffing, because there is every driver would want to have a bit of an exit clause. Even Lewis, with his current contract, he has an exit clause to say that if they are not competitive enough, they would have to.
Sorry to cut you off there. Smooth operator, I'm gonna call you Science from now on. Just know I'm talking to you. I am super jealous, my man. That sounds sensational.
The tickets to Spa. What if that? That is my favorite racetrack of all time. incredibly jealous that you have tickets for the race weekend for Spa. Do you have it for all 3 days, or is it just for 1 day, 2 days? Okay, sites now.
Yep, you're assigned now.
It is truly sad to see Stroll go out. You know, I was trying to get to this point earlier. Is it that at this point the Aston Martin team is struggling with bringing upgrades to the car to keep it competitive, as well as Rage to the Max 123. I don't know. Thank you for the follow.
Yes, welcome to the late breakers.
Yeah, welcome. I do think that it could be a possible flaw from the Aston Martin. They are unable to produce as much parts as a team such as Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes are able to do.
Yeah, I think the R&D shared between them is definitely not going to be as big as the top runners. Because remember, going into the season, you could never call Aston a top runner, or let's call it the end of last season. You know, Aston weren't the top runners. There were three teams. There were three teams in that category, and they had the R&D. They had, you know, the cost cap shenaniganry. They had all of that stuff. But as Don says, I agree. I don't think Aston's going to be able to keep up with the R&D in the long run, at least. They showed up with the rocket. They did really well in the first 2-3 races. But in terms of changing what needs to be changed and that R&D on the cars going through the season, they're going to start lacking behind.
No, definitely. But you must remember, Aston Martin are still in the process of building a very big plant right next to Silverstone. I do believe it should be completed by the end of this year, which will then bring them into a lot better competition against these top running teams, because they can finally end up building parts as I would hope as efficiently as a team such as Red Bull and Mercedes. Ferrari, I'm not too sure, because at the moment they are losing a lot of key personnel, so for them to even be running in the top four is a big surprise for me, I would say, because when you're losing such key personnel, a lot of the times the team ends up losing their identity. They don't know, they don't have a direction on which to focus on and where to move next to, as Max sets another purple sector 2 there, although nobody else has set another time. I doubt anyone besides from Perez will be able to beat his time. I believe Swizz, that Max's time might just beat your time on F122.
I do believe he might have destroyed it.
He really did, with a 127.1, going crazy. Aston and McLaren are building wind tunnels for now. Thank you, Don. That is a good thing for them. You know, those wind tunnels are definitely going to help, especially when they are the teams on the lower end, because I know a lot of the times the teams further down on the grid are borrowing the wind tunnels from the bigger teams such as Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. So for Aston Martin to get their own wind tunnel, which is absolutely phenomenal from them, as Alonso puts it in P3. Lovely. Only
these guys have been sandbagging throughout practice.
Mention, what was your time that you did around Miami, Swiss?
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I believe the time was a 127.7.
It was a 127.7
around Miami. But
correct.
But do note that those laps were only done out of 10 laps. Am I correct, or correct me if I'm wrong?
There was 20 laps put in.
20 laps put in to get a 127.7.
Correct.
over this weekend we might see him put in a little bit more time to try see if he can catch Max. And don't be shy to look at the YouTube video, Alonso. Yeah, definitely. The YouTube video, we'll get out a clip on his lap versus Max's qualifying lap. So you can
I'll
see.
have to put in. I'll have to put in the effort, man.
Oh, no,
I can't let Verstappen destroy me that badly.
Oh, no, definitely. You know, I think you should be trying riding the curbs a lot more. Because the game allows us to ride the curbs a lot better than anything else.
Look, you say that, but I've tried and my car goes to Narnia and it's just a disaster.
Look, what we can always do is we can go analyze how the F1 esports guys do the time trial laps. I know Jarno Opmeer is always a incredibly fast driver. Although last year, he did struggle to keep his title. As believe it was Thomas Rana who won the F1 esports title last year.
Yeah, I think there's too many allegations flying around and too many politics for us to get into there.
No, you know what I honestly think?
Very conflicting opinions on that one.
I honestly think this year is going to be a lot more important because with F1 esports, we're finally going back to LAN events where all 20 of the drivers for F1 esports are going to be in person. They have no opportunity to be using cheats. So if Thomas Rana was using cheats and it will show that he was incredibly slow from the get-go. So be on the lookout for that from June. I believe it is June 13th when F1 23 drops.
Correct.
And from that you'll see. Ooh wee.
Can we talk about the fact that Debris made it through Q1?
Definitely.
He snuck through there, and I didn't notice.
I do think he definitely did sneak through, but I think it is on pure merit. He has been
McLarens.
Over those McLarens. He's shown that he's better at this racetrack than the McLarens.
I don't know.
Sainz puts in a purple.
He's been sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard the entire weekend. And now he gets into Q2.
I mean, you know, a lot of these times in the practice sessions, you need to remember, people are doing different strategies at the time, you know. He might have been doing high fuel runs.
Wait, hold on. Sainz, sector 1 and 2.
But unfortunately, I don't think he'll get the purple third sector because the Red Bulls are just incredibly fast in those straights with their double DRS upgrades.
Leclerc slots it in P4.
The Sainz.
Where is Sainz gonna be? Sainz crosses the line in P2.
Oh, Sainz.
He's 3/100ths off Verstappen's time. That's quick. Albano slotting it in P7. Also, Sainz, what are you doing in our chat and setting these blistering lap times? How are you doing this? Teach me. That's fast from Ferrari. Hopefully they keep this pace. It'll make for a very interesting race tomorrow.
I don't think Ferrari will have the tire deg to keep this pace up. It's been a problem for them to tackle the whole year. And I don't think Ferrari will. I believe Ferrari were one of the few teams who did not bring an upgrade for this. Oh no, Ferrari did bring a new floor for this weekend. So we will see what this new floor did, but I think that this floor will end up eating into their deg a lot more. They need to bring a new suspension upgrade, which will eat into the tires a lot less than what they're doing right now. But over a 1 lap pace, I am impressed with Carlos Sainz in being able to outperform Leclerc, whereby most of this year Carlos has not been showing up. He is really being the better Ferrari this weekend right now. Or at least with the qualifying session.
That's about time, but you know, Sainz. Oh, it's Perez. Oh, Perez clipping the wall on the entrance to turn 4. Oh,
Ooh,
That was a bit of a hectic bump there.
no, I think he just gave Barry R a lovely kiss, you know.
Just rather do it now than in the race, right?
Rather do it now. Yes, Don, vamos, Carlos, vamos. We have 5 minutes left, and the freeze has unfortunately dropped down to the bottom. But I mean, I think that's expected from the AlphaTauri, whereas I believe this is the first time he's outperforming Yuki Tsunoda, who's been what we could call an experienced driver in the AlphaTauris. But I wonder if the brake issue that they've been having since last year is still an issue that is still going on right now. Let's see if
I mean, surely not, right?
I mean, let's see if there is anything from Nick De Vries in the commentary. Has he
Also,
said...
there was a... Oh, sorry, yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm just... You wanted to say? I haven't...
Yeah, so there was a very interesting metric that came up now. Just for those who aren't watching the stream. The whole 2023 season so far, and Alpha has not made it into Q3.
No, Alpha has made it into Q3 last race in Azerbaijan. Oh, Alfa Romeo. Sorry, no, AlphaTauri.
Alfa Romeo.
AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri has made it into Q3. Alfa Romeo this season has not made it into Q3.
That is a very interesting metric. I wonder. I think, AlphaTauri has always been a team that suffers with upgrades later on in the race or in the year overall. They bring a strong package from the start, and overall, as the year progresses, their packages become weaker and weaker in terms of their gains that they get overall. But Bottas seeming to disagree with what I have to say entirely by putting it into P6 right now.
Slots it into P6.
Hopefully he can be able to keep it. I see that Nick De Vries did have a commentary that he had a few moments. Let's just hear what he has to say.
Too late on the braking last corner. Push in the lap for timings. Push in the lap. Box. Which are you in the garage? You can push for timings.
Oh, I see. Like Nick De Vries is he's getting too late on the brakes into the last corner. So, Swizz, where do you usually end up braking on the last corner, just before you start the lap?
So depending, so let's call it race pace.
Yeah.
I would brake at another unsafe release.
Oh no!
A Haas in front of Alonso. Man, these race engineers really need to pay attention to what's going on in the pit lane. That's probably the 4th or 5th unsafe release this weekend.
Yeah, I would at least think it's the 7th at this point.
Yeah, I've lost count.
Lando Norris.
Yes.
Yes. Carlos.
So last corner.
Yes.
For the quali lap, you want to take it wide, so you just get a better run into the pit straight.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit more speed. But race pace, you're generally braking probably at the 100-meter board.
At the 100-meter board for the race pace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I've done a few laps myself in at least the time trial version.
Leclerc puts it in P1.
Oh, the one lap wonder is doing his magic, being 1.46 tenths faster than Verstappen, his arch nemesis, as it would be. I would so love to see these guys be trading blows left and right. Obviously not physically, but in the race, just to be like, one wins the race, one loses, and it's just a back and forth between the two. But I believe Perez might just have an argument against this, to say, you know what, Verstappen's biggest competitor is his own teammate. But I need to see more performance out of Perez on actual dedicated racetracks.
On not street circuits.
On dedicated racetracks to see. Where are you guys?
Science, just to answer your question in chat, we are from South Africa.
Yeah, both South African. GMT +2, you know. Um, we are in Johannesburg, you know. It's absolutely different.
Max fought back. He's put it back into P1. He's not having this. Alonso finding the pace, slotting it into P3.
So Science, smooth operator, where are you from? Let's find out. Where are some of our viewers from?
Ocon puts it into P6. For the first time this season, we have an Alfa Romeo in Q3, piloted by Valtteri Bottas. Russell makes it into Q3 by the skin of his teeth. Hamilton
being
does
knocked
not
out.
make it into Q3.
Oh no! One of the, what a lot of people would consider the GOAT, is unable to make it into Q3. Russell being barely able to. Will someone else knock Russell? Russell's sitting on the precipice of losing his P10 spot.
Come on, Albon.
Come on.
I believe.
Albon, knock the Mercedes out. Charles has been on pole 19 times and has only won 6 only from pole, says Don Don, I totally agree. It is a crazy thing for Charles to be in. But you know, it's a big problem that Ferrari has brought amongst themselves. To have a car that's able to do over 1 lap pace, on 1 lap pace, to be able to be on pole, but I think the Ferrari strategies overall has ruined a lot of the strategies for him. Oh, Hamilton having a little bit of issues.
Yeah, a tiny slide there, but that didn't look too bad. It looked pretty smooth, if I'm completely honest. It was a little tiny slide. I think going to turn 12, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but you must remember, these tiny slides are almost a tenth in time costing.
Yeah, he is 1.16 seconds off the pace. All he needed there was 3 tenths.
And I mean, that one slide was a tenth at minimum right there.
So what happened to the rest of his pace?
I think it must have been, we have to analyze his lap. I think that's a video for our YouTube channel to analyze what happened with Hamilton's lap later on in the race, or in the qualifying.
Science from chat from Germany. Don't know if you've seen the message because my chat isn't showing my message. We see you and we hear you loud and clear, friend.
We definitely see you, smooth operator.
It's Science. Can you please get his name right?
I believe to call him, he chose the name smooth operator 66789. You call him Science. I always call him by his name himself, the smooth operator.
Fine. I will get the sound clip and I will play it just for him at some point.
Smooth operator.
You gotta ask for a radio check first, man.
Yeah, no, I think every time, smooth operator, when you join the channel, you know, you need to just be like, radio check, and get us to play that smooth operator for you, you know? As that is the end of qualifying 2 with Albon, Hulkenberg, Hamilton, Zhou and De Vries knocked out in this race. So, Swiss, let me ask, and everyone in chat, let me ask, how far do you think Hamilton will be able to catch up in the race tomorrow?
He's definitely going to make it into the points. That much I can guarantee you.
You think he'll get into the points?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I don't think that car is that slow. It's going to be a bit iffy in the first few laps. But you know, the one thing that you can generally count on is Mercedes and their pit strats, or the general race strategies. They've had a really good time this year so far. They've put the car where it needed to be. They've raced really well. So he's definitely making it into the points. I don't think he's going to be challenging the front runners by any stretch of the imagination. Not with a start, you know,
This
that
bad.
far back on the grid.
Yeah, no, definitely. Unless there's a technical issue, you know. I mean, anything can happen within these races. I mean, Red Bull, as we've seen in through the practice sessions, Red Bull's biggest weakness is their gearbox. You know, one of the Red Bull's gearbox could break, as we see Adrian Newey analyzing the car that he's perfected, as what I would think. I mean, there's nothing better than this Red Bull car right now.
Yeah, that is going to be. I feel everyone's just going to be struggling to keep up with these Red Bulls, especially if they manage to get into DRS. You know, this is one of the tracks where you never want to be in front giving a Red Bull DRS.
Oh no, definitely.
That back straight is very, very long. You make up a lot of time. Depending on the downforce setups that these cars are running, you know, you can lose 2, 3, maybe even 4 tenths on that straight without DRS. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how these cars, well, to analyze the sector times actually, to see where these cars are making up their time. Because just to go back to my few laps on Miami that I did,
Yeah.
I tried 2 different setups where I was very, very fast in the second sector, but I was losing about 5 tenths on the straight just with a higher downforce setup. And you can't afford to make up that time because there aren't enough corners
Yeah.
to kind of compare it to the straights on this track. These straights are, for lack of a better word, they're OP.
Oh, I do think they are very strong in terms of what they provide to the race car. I do remember, I believed that Max Verstappen was getting a second of pace on you in the first sector, but you clawed that full second back in by the end of the second sector, which made you guys go even into the third sector, which only left you within the practice session where Max did a 125 as his fastest lap time, with leaving him only 2 tenths faster than you, which I believe is just purely up to setup and feel of the car.
It was a 127.5 that he did in P3.
No, he did a 127.5. Yeah, I agree.
127.5, not 125.
Sorry, yes, 127.5.
Yeah. So, and when we did the sector breakdowns, it was 1.1 that he pulled in first sector. I pulled 1.1 back in the second sector, and he beat me by 0.2 in the last sector.
Just that few tenths, you know. You know, it's one thing I do think is a shame is that Paul Ricard is no longer on the race calendar.
Yeah.
So we will never get to see your lap on Paul Ricard against Max Verstappen's fastest lap on Paul Ricard. But I mean, we can always go look at 2021's fastest lap on Paul Ricard versus what's going on.
Yeah, can always play it on the older games as well.
Oh no,
I mean, you know, everyone agrees that I think it was F1 2020 or 2021 had the best handling model.
2020 had the best handling model out of all of the games so far.
Yeah. I did see some sneak videos, or not necessarily videos, but talks about 2023, and the guys who did have early access to it say that the traction feels like you're driving on medium.
On medium tires, medium.
No. So in the assists, you can obviously turn traction off on full, or there's like a medium or low setting.
Yes.
Where it like sometimes it like kind of helps you, but you can still spin out.
Yeah.
They say that 2023, when it's off, it feels like it's on the low setting for 2022. So that's pretty interesting.
That is a very interesting design. I'm really interested to see whether the Codemasters would bring a anti-cheat version, or at least some form of anti-cheat for the 2023 model game, so that, you know, we can have the leaderboards being clean, and we can make sure that, you know, that people such as Thomas Ronhard don't need to be questioned whether their lap times are legitimate, or not.
Yeah, definitely. Also, everyone in the chat, can we have some predictions for your 1, 2, 3
For-
at the end of Q3, please?
What do you think? Yeah, definitely. I see that Don said coast to coast, LA to Chicago. I'm not sure where that was, but from LA, where we have a Las Vegas, which is closer to LA, and Chicago. It would be interesting to see if we could ever get a United States Grand Prix within the Chicago city. But I do think it will be a big ask.
Yeah, I don't know about that. There isn't. Oh, Verstappen. Okay, this lap is done.
Yeah, Verstappen is over with this lap. He's not gonna complete that lap at all, and even the directors realize. So, Smooth Operator says Verstappen first, Charles second, third, Sainz or Perez? Maybe. Okay. That is an interesting pick. Don is busy writing his replies. He says Max in the first sector, in first position.
No, so what he's saying, it's Max 1, Max 2, Max 3.
Ah, yes. I understand.
That is clearly what he's trying to tell us here. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna say Verstappen, Leclerc, Alonso.
Alonso, you're going to put Alonso above Perez.
I have faith.
As Perez is doing purple sectors right now, you're going to put Alonso above him.
He's the first person that's going to complete a lap. I expect him to do purple sectors.
I mean, okay, yes, that is fair. That is 100% fair. Max did abort his lap earlier. On the other hand,
Ocon, that lap time is gonna drop. Verstappen's in the pits.
yeah, he would need most likely a new set of tires, as Perez was on 2-lap-old tires. Ocon was on 5-lap-old tires, where he did that lap of a 1:27.9, which is incredibly slow. Russell, as he does a 1:27.8 on 5-lap-old tires, but Alonso is on also 5-lap-old, but Perez is on 2-lap-old tires, where he. Kevin Magnus.
Look, Leclerc locking up in the last corner.
Max, all purple, Perez. Yep, definitely.
Yeah,
But remember, Don, that was the first
there.
lap out of everyone.
Yeah.
Bottas.
Sainz slotting it into P3.
Lovely from Sainz. Alonso coming in. Okay, Mag. Don, let's get your predictions of who's P1, P2, and P3. You said Max first, but I don't believe Max can hold all 3 positions, you know?
I mean, with the right attitude.
I don't believe that he is 3 people in one. I do.
Oh, he took too much curb.
Oh, yeah. Too much curb from that. Yeah, Max definitely knew he went wide there right now.
Yeah, and because of that little slide, it pushed him wide going into this corner. And then you go off the track and your tires don't like it.
No, they really don't. I mean, even in practice, he said that, you know what, the moment you get just like a millimeter off the line, your whole lap is destroyed, as a Ferrari locks up there. As we're looking at the new Alpha Tauri team principal, just for a quick moment there on that. Don says... Go for it,
Don says Max, Perez, Charles, and possibly Alonso.
Alonso being P4. Lovely. Swizz, let me hear your predictions on the top 3. Who did you pick?
Oh, mine was Verstappen, Leclerc, and Alonso.
Verstappen, Leclerc, and Alonso. All right. I have a different opinion. We both agree on Verstappen being first, but I think Sergio...
I mean, you'd be silly to bet against him at this point.
Sergio, yeah, you really are very silly if you think Verstappen is not going to be on pole, but I think it's Verstappen, Perez, Charles going to be on pole, and I think that's the race order. Even for the end of the race tomorrow, that's what the result is going to be. Potentially, if Max is not able to beat Perez, it might just switch around being Perez, Verstappen, which, you know, I'm all for putting my cards on Perez. I hope that he could potentially beat Verstappen, so that, you know, me as a Mercedes fan, I love to think that Red Bull is just purely about the Max Verstappen train. And that's all they care about. They will build their car around Verstappen. But if Perez can show that, look at me, Red Bull, I am just as great as that man is, I will love it. I truly love it, you know. If Perez could just outperform Max as much as he can, just like how Russell is outperforming Hamilton, I honestly think that, you know, with Russell outperforming Hamilton is, I would say, 50% satisfied that Russell is outperforming him, as well as he is dissatisfied that Russell is outperforming him in almost every weekend going forward. Maybe we need to see next year's car.
I don't know. You can't really blame. Like, look, in essence, these cars aren't ridiculously different. There are definitely tweaks set up for X driver. I mean,
Yep.
look at Danny Rick and Lando Norris in McLaren. You could see that car wasn't set up for Danny Rick, but when he was at Red Bull, you know, not this time, previous time,
Yeah.
he was winning races, but he wasn't number one driver. So it does depend on the base setup that you have, and these Red Bulls are, as you said earlier, they're rocket ships.
No, definitely.
But so are the Ferraris. So are the Haas's, apparently. These Mercs have definitely shown pace. They're not, obviously, I'm going to say it straight up, you know, I am a Red Bull fan.
Yep.
But at this point, I still think that no one's close to them. As soon as DRS opens, they turn into, it's like having nitrous in these cars. It's ridiculous. But, you know, you need to make the most out of what you got. And, you know, Ferrari have their dig issues. Leclerc has his bad luck issues, I guess. I don't even know what to call it anymore.
No, I do agree with you entirely that it is what the most that you can make out of these vehicles that you have been given, right? But I think a lot of this is that in terms of at least Mercedes, right? Russell is that young, fresh, new blood, right? When we look at back in last year when Mercedes were dealing with the porpoising issues, Russell was really performing even though he was dealing with he had the porpoising issues. Oh no! Oh no, Charles. Charles.
Is that a red flag? That's Leclerc in the wall.
Let us hear when Charles has his moment. No, Charles, he destroyed his left.
It's
his
a red flag.
Rear. That's a red flag.
In P9. That's Verstappen in P9.
P9.
No. Okay, wait. This is somewhat good, but no.
I do believe that the FIA are going to call this the end of the session. Perez starting on P1 with Alonso P2, Carlos Sainz outperforming his teammate.
It's not hard to outperform someone to put it in the wall.
I honestly believe, like I told you yesterday,
Q3 will not be resumed.
That is it.
Your front row is Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso. P3 is Carlos Sainz. P4 Kevin Magnussen. P5 Pierre Gasly. P6 George Russell. P7 Charles Leclerc. P8 Ocon. P9 Verstappen. P10 Bottas. I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
Verstappen has a mighty job ahead of him for tomorrow. In order to get past all of these cars, and Charles Leclerc, crashes out, but still gets a P7 start with the race tomorrow. I honestly, I do think that there should be a bit of a penalty for someone who crashes out. As
Verstappen's gonna be mad.
Verstappen's incredibly mad, I believe, as I do believe Sergio is excited that he is starting pole, back-to-back poles for Sergio Perez, where he has the opportunity to just win the race. I do believe this is lovely from Perez.
If Perez wins this race, he takes the lead of the championship.
He truly does. We were all
K Mag in P4. Oh, listen, he's so happy.
K-Bag is so happy. Let's hear what Max Verstappen had to say on the stream. And then Sergio Perez had to say about him starting P1.
Well, Checo, that's red flag. Well done, mate. Red flag. Well done, mate.
Oh, you can even see that Charles is incredibly mad about that. Let's hear what Charles had to say.
Check the car. Check the car. I think.
Copy.
Sorry, turn 60. Sorry, turn 60.
Oh. No, that was a replay of a previous lap from Charles. Oh. For some reason. So, Swaz, let me ask you this big question. Unfortunately, we do not have Nemesis on the stream today with us, but we will ask him this tomorrow, when the chance brings it to us. Charles Leclerc, with this crash bringing along, do you think that Mercedes will be possibly looking at him as a potential replacement for Lewis Hamilton, when Toto Wolff has stated previously that, that Mick Schumacher is the potential replacement for Lewis Hamilton? Oh, as there's animosity between Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. Sergio does not look impressed with what Max had to say to him there.
You know what I think he said? It probably had something to do with Monaco last year.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, basically Monaco last year, Perez crashed out in Q3 and stopped Verstappen from doing his lap, and it red flagged. Well, I mean, obviously, if you crash in Monaco, it's going to be a red flag. But it stopped Verstappen from doing his lap, and he basically blamed Perez for his poor, basically, finish in that race. And I think that's what he feels is happening now. But I mean, it's a stab, but what is it going to accomplish at the end of the day?
I truly don't believe it will accomplish much. I think it really accomplishes Carlos staying on the podium for the start of the race. As Don says, Charles is a one-lap wonder. That damage could be the gearbox. I do think it could be a little bit of gearbox, but from the onboards, it looks more like it's just the rear right as well as suspension damage, as we hear from Carlos Sainz starting his interview. As we can see, there's a very windy day out here, with the humidity being 60%, track temperature being 41 degrees Celsius, as the air temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. No rain prediction, but as we said previously, there could be rain for the next session for the race, as well as the wind is 14 kilometers an hour at a southeast direction. Don saying Max is acting like a bee. No, but I do believe that is a definite thing from Max. I think that is a typical Max move. I mean, even when Russell crashed into his side pod. You know, Max was pretty upset about that. And if you just go look back at, I think it was Singapore 2016, where Max took out two different drivers, including himself being the third. Uh, his comments hold no value to me, at least. You know,
Yeah, he's also done it multiple times to Hamilton.
yeah, no. To say that, you know, to take so much risks in this, I mean, they're all racing drivers. He should know that everyone is willing to take the risk to try get as far ahead as they possibly can, you know.
Yeah,
Would you,
absolutely.
would you not? I definitely do think that is it. Charles is a pole merchant. He's got 19 poles and 6 wins. That is not impressive in my opinion. I do agree that, you know, with 19 poles he's unable to keep that win, but I mean, how many of those races has Ferrari messed up the strategy whereby it's not even a thing that Charles was able to control. You even see that Carlos, a lot of the times, the Carlos's own race engineer asks him for what strategy he wants to do. They don't even make the strategy anymore. It honestly feels just like that. Ferrari is not watching the race, and that we as the spectators are just watching the race ourselves, and we have more information than Ferrari apparently has about the own race that they are participating in. You know.
I think they're just counting on the fact that because they know their tire take is bad, they count on the feedback coming back from the drivers on, how are your tires, how's the car feel. Fine, okay, cool, we'll go longer. Like, we'll look at when everyone else is pitting, and then we come back to you. How's your tires looking? No, they're not looking great. Okay, cool, we pit when they pit.
I don't even think that's a good strategy from Ferrari, because
It's definitely not a good strategy, but it feels like that's how they're running it.
if they honestly were running it that way, they would have a at least solid strategy. Because I mean, Red Bull, Red Bull and Mercedes have been having solid strategies. Mercedes
Oh,
a
yes,
little
100%.
bit less than Red Bull, when Red Bull are able to make those quick, fast decisions on whether they should put. Maybe Azerbaijan with the safety cars messed Max up a little bit with the strategy, but regardless, they still got a 1-2 with Perez winning the race. I do think if Ferrari were to follow the simple strategy, I mean, even if we were to open the game F1 Manager, the strategies in there in F1 Manager are pretty simple. You know, it's not that hard, I would think, to see. Oh, our car is losing speed, losing pace to everyone else. Maybe we should put the car.
Yeah. Start the undercut. I mean, you say that. I think we were a bunch of us were doing one of the F1 races, and I happened to be in a Ferrari. And I promise you, one of the pit strategies they gave me was, I think it was 16 lap race, one pit required. One of the strategies said I needed to pit 12 times for hards each time. And I'm just like, you know what? I 100% agree that this is a Ferrari strategy, and I don't blame you guys.
Oh, 100%. Smooth Operator asks, what do you pay for the F1 streaming? I pay the $5 a month for the streaming. Some, like last year, I just chose, to pay the full year subscription, so that it would just come off straight from my January paycheck, and then the rest of the month I didn't have to worry about paying for the streaming of it. But I just pay $5 a month usually for the F1 TV subscription. But I mean,
I think that is the standard one.
that is the standard per month subscription. But I mean, if you do want, we are always we will be setting up a Discord channel soon, Smooth Operator, so where we can end up live streaming the race overall and other things for our subscribers and followers. So that way, you know, we can all enjoy the content together with each other.
Yeah, so what we are looking at doing is kind of setting up our own little membership program, be it through Patreon or our website or whatever the case is, and you'll get a bunch of different things when you basically subscribe to us. So we'll invite you to actual races, or not actual races, but in-game esports races. You'll get access to the Discord where we'll be streaming the race, and you won't have to pay the F1 TV subscription, stuff like that. So there'll be lots of things coming in the future. So stay tuned.
Definitely do stay tuned. One day, we might just bring you along on the Discord to have a chat with us as we do the qualifying session, or maybe you want to join us for the actual race. Do be tomorrow, whatever time in Germany the race starts. We will definitely be streaming at a minimum 20 minutes before the race starts, just to make sure that everything is running smooth, so we can even play your anthem, the Smooth Operator, tomorrow.
Yes, radio check, radio check. We want to hear you out, man.
As Don says, Perez for world champion. I truly hope that Perez can get his first world champion. I feel that Max's second world champion was very easy for him. I don't believe it was much of a challenge for him to get the second world champion, his championship. But hopefully this can be a little bit of a challenge for Max, as a lot of the Twitter comments and everything has been going on about, it's not, F1 is a bit boring, which is why they want to bring 10 sprint races, which I think is the wrong idea. Formula One has always been about the politics, about what's going on within everything.
Just to cut you off there. They just put up the replay of Leclerc's crash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks like the reason was that he hit the curb and the car bottomed out when it came back onto the track.
Ooh. That's
not a good thing to see.
So that sounds like Ferrari's running their car quite low to the ground then.
Yeah.
In terms of the F1 games, that sounds like they're running it with a 2 or 3 ride height in the rear and the front. As we see that Sergio Perez puts it on first, Fernando Alonso puts it on second, and third, Carlos Sainz. Smooth Operator and Don, let's hear from you guys. Do you think that let's hear the last week's drama. Do you think Fernando is actually in a relationship with Taylor Swift in this? I truly don't. I don't follow that type of shenaniganry and news. I think Fernando is just trying to enjoy his time in a incredibly well-made Aston Martin. But what do you guys think? Many people have different opinions about these stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really. For me, I didn't really bother about it. His life is his life. He can do whatever he wants. But I enjoyed the memes that came out of it, though. That I will definitely. I support such shenaniganry.
That's lovely to see all the shenaniganry going on, as well as that is the end of the qualifying session. I do believe that's the end of the qualifying session, guys. We will see. There's Smooth Operator says, I'm not sure, maybe just news because he doesn't want to say anything to it, but he posted a video to a song from her. No, definitely, I think he's just adding to the little spice to it, Relevancy is a very big thing in the world that can influence everything. Don says, I don't follow that side of F1, but Fernando must enjoy his life. No, I definitely do agree.
Agreed.
It is a thing to enjoy that side of your life, you know. I think to keep your private life separate, I think he enjoys the tension of it. Definitely smooth operator. I think we should really keep the driver's private life and what they do in the private side of their things separate from what they're doing in the races. So, I believe that is the end of the stream, gentlemen. We will see you guys all tomorrow, 20 minutes just before the race starts, and we will enjoy that type of. We will enjoy some little pre-race banter before the race starts. See what tires everyone is getting onto, and starting that. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow. Cheers.
Straight up. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.